Euro USD sells, what can I say? Again, analysis playing out to absolute perfection for the past 2 weeks. Once again, October has been amazing and I've already nearly reached my monthly profit target, which would enable me to be finished with live trading for the month of October. Now, Euro USD again sold off in towards the downside and the results do not lie. Again, 6.7k in profit. Obviously, I'm not going to share all of my different accounts and the total amount of profit for privacy reasons, but you guys can imagine that the month overall has been good. And not only my own month, but for example of Max, who joined the mentorship and he was suffering from a 10 losing streak, but now obviously trading EURUSD, trading GBPUSD, traders, everyday traders like yourself are now getting in those profits, guys. So if you are interested in actually learning one-on-one from myself on a daily basis through live sessions with the team, then make sure to click on the WhatsApp link at the top of the description underneath this video or in the comment section. Without further ado, let's just dive in. So EURUSD has sold off in towards the downside following the overall daily order flow and of course the overall daily fractal structure. Now we can clearly see that we've seen another daily fractal break in towards the downside and we are starting to move in towards my targets here for EURUSD based on liquidity. Now, the overall liquidity targets are based on this ascending trend line over here, where we have a perfect 1, 2, and then a third tap, and we're now looking to liquidate the entire trend line by going and moving in towards the beginning, which is around over here. Now, what we've again seen yesterday is another beautiful bearish day for EURUSD. We were building up some liquidity underneath these lows here, where we were kind of stalling with price yesterday afternoon, but then throughout the New York session, we continued to sell off in towards the downside. Now, again, guys, obviously this has, or the move has already happened. The impulsive phase has happened, and we can clearly see now that we have again the impulsive phase here in towards the downside, and now again we have the impulsive phase over here. Now the break of structure has taken place on EURUSD, so obviously in the near future we can expect a potential pullback to come into play. Preferably, I would still see EURUSD sell off slightly more, but do keep in mind that it is a good moment to lock in some profits as we are trading after the break of structure line, and the overall analysis, the overall fulfillment of price has now already taken place with my short position, which I again shared live on stream last week, hitting an absolute beautiful 150 pip profit. So overall, the analysis played out. Now, again, the overall impulsive phase in towards the downside is now over, or could be over in the near future. Let me put it that way. So what you now want to look for is, again, reaccumulation before entering new trades. So when we look at reaccumulation, we look at the bumps in the road. So for example, this high over here or this high over here. And then what you want to see happening is the high get taken out, and then you want to see the 4-hour change of character, and then you want to look for a new short position once again. But overall, for now, the shorts have played out. You cannot get into any more shorts. I'm not looking for longs, obviously, for obvious reasons. The only way that you could look for long is if the entire market structure starts to shift. What I mean with the entire market structure starts to shift, well, if the overall order flow, for example, were to break back up in towards the upside, so that would mean that we would break above here, and then you could look, for example, for longs again. But for now, I'm only interested in further shorting EURUSD in towards the downside, as I've been mentioning for quite some time. Now, this aligns beautifully with the dollar index. The dollar index has done exactly as we wanted. Again, guys, let me know if you guys have been able to profit on the dollar move that I've been calling all, let's say, week and a half long, 2 weeks, all throughout October. We can clearly see again that the overall price pattern of the market structure has been so beautiful, where we had the overextended move down, we had the descending correction with the one low, the second low, and then the fake out on that second low with the V-shape reversal back in towards the highs, and then obviously order flow being sustained with that daily demand zone over here continuing to push the market up higher. And now we've nearly reached the overall main liquidity high of 99.074, which I've been looking to target. Going to the 4-hour time frame, again, how we understood that the overall move in towards the upside was going to take place. This here is the impulse up. This here is the liquidity low. Liquidity gets taken. Then we waited for the change of character. Change of character came in over here on the 2nd of October. This then becomes demand, and from there we've just continued our leg overall up higher. Now, for the dollar index, I'm waiting for pretty much this 99.074/99.200 region to get hit, after which there is potential for a pullback. We could already start pulling back today. Do keep it in mind, as we are again trading after the break of structure line, but preferably it would happen from around that 99.074 region. Now, there's not a lot to say about the dollar index in the sense that the move has already happened. We've already seen that overall impulse in towards the highs. Now it's obviously a question of, okay, waiting for it to fill its overall objection within the overall impulse. Then in the future, we wait for reaccumulation, for example, and then we can look for new long positions once again, or we'll look to trade the overall pullback once major liquidity gets taken here, and then we see a genuine market structure shift in the form of a change of character, and then we could, for example, trade the overall pullback back down towards liquidity. So that's the dollar index for you. Now, GBPUSD, again, guys, we called this live yesterday in the stream. Absolute beautiful, beautiful scenes once again. All of you know that I've called that we are well within the overall impulsive phase here on the daily time frame. Now, what we can see is, again, GBPUSD from a daily perspective, we've had the overall uptrend in towards the highs. We broke in towards the downside with the break of structure here. We have two liquidity highs, this one over here, this one over here. Liquidity high one got taken out. We saw the initial push down, but not enough momentum. We came back up for liquidity high number two, so bump in the road number two of the overall leg in towards the downside. We take that out, and since then we've been following the daily fractal structure down lower. Again, daily fractal here in control, with supply being under control, and we're still looking for the market to head and continue its overall leg down lower. Now, we're well within the overall 4-hour impulsive phase here. What we can clearly see is, again, that the overall impulsive phase has commenced, and we expect the impulsive phase to continue until a new lower low is formed. Now, once again, within the impulsive phase, we had a bump in the road. Bump in the road gets taken out here with the X, and then from there we head down lower again. And now ultimately I'm just looking for this overall 4-hour order flow to continue. We've seen another 4-hour fractal break, again meaning that this supply zone here is in control, and I'm looking just simply for this to continue down lower. Do keep in mind there is still possibility for some manipulation, but overall I'm looking for this just to continue its overall impulsive phase. We're within the impulsive phase here on the 4-hour time frame, and I'm looking for the overall shorts to continue after forming lower highs and lower lows. I'm looking for the new lower low to be established. So still looking for further shorts there on GBPUSD, but now is obviously not the best time to re-enter. What you now want to see is, again, reaccumulation. Now, what happened yesterday is that we called the shorts here from this bump in the road. Again, if you use the opens indicator, you can see that it beautifully aligned with the monthly and the 3 monthly open. Now, on the 15-minute time frame, it then gave the 50-minute change of character, after which a lot of you got into shorts. So again, congratulations, a beautiful and relatively fast around a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Now, looking at the 1-hour time frame here, again, we're looking for more downside. So what we can now see here is that we have two bumps in the road, this one here and this one here. Now, this first one has been taken out, hence the initial reaction. The higher probability bump in the road is this one over here. That's preferably also the one where you would want to take a new trade from. It can already drop from this high. Do not underestimate it, but preferably, or let's say myself, I'm already in those short positions on GBPUSD from around the highs over here. So I'm just going to be waiting and holding onto those positions further in towards the downside. But my main target obviously is the dollar index hitting 99.074, which is that daily liquidity high. And then once the dollar index hits that high, that's probably when I'm going to start scaling out of GBPUSD as well. But again, it's already important to take some profits, as on the 4-hour time frame we're trading after the break of structure line. So at any point in time, can we already see a pullback, right? Like this high over here is also liquidity high with these descending highs. So that could already be enough to cause the overall pullback to happen. It's just that from a daily perspective, I'm favoring this overall black line over here. So that's GBPUSD. Going into AUDUSD, we can see that AU has also sold off, nothing really out of the ordinary or unexpected. Again, you guys know it. I've not really been looking to trade AUDUSD because the Australian dollar has been relatively strong. I preferred NZDUSD. Again, impulse up, retracement. I was looking for the double fractal break. Never really happened, so no long opportunities at all here on AUDUSD. And it continues to sell off for now. But again, not a pair that I'm looking to short. NZDUSD, however, on the other hand, last night had an interest rate decision. They cut by 50 basis points, if I'm not mistaken. And again, what can I say, guys, on NZDUSD? I've been, again, talking about this thing every single day here on YouTube. You can watch back every single YouTube analysis. I'm not going to lie. I should really start. I've kind of thought in a way what would happen if I just stopped doing these analyses on a daily basis, man, because there's so much value in them. Again, every single time the green phase happens, you have the impulsive phase. Within the impulsive phase, you look for the bump in the road. Now, the bump in the road here, and there was a bump in the road pretty much over here. Now, again, I mentioned after this bump in the road or after this one, you could look for the short position. What happens? The short position happens after the order flow shifted here on the 4-hour time frame. So again, we break this over here, we retest that supply, and then from there, we just tank in towards the downside. So ultimately, again, such a simple but effective trade setup. with stop loss above the high. Yeah, what can I say? Again, guys, don't get too passive on these kind of trades. It retested supply, just get in. I see a lot of traders then kind of like trying to say, okay, well, now this here is my refined supply zone. I'm really not a big fan of trading those refined supply zones. Just trade the whole supply zone and get into that move. Because again, this is a very strong high over here because it liquidated this high here. We were building up some liquidity within the range, then we liquidated it, and then the overall change of character happened, and then you just want to get in on the retest of that supply zone / buy before the sell, and now it's selling off beautifully. So again, what can I say? Just a mic drop moment for myself there. And again, congratulations to everybody who's in those positions with me. Same for USD called this long as well. Obviously, further in towards at least this supply zone over here, this buy before the sell candle, as long as the daily fractals hold and the 4-hour demand holds. I'm still looking for longs, been calling that every single day. What can I say again about this? Yeah, crystal clear. Now, if you're looking for shorts, pay attention because we're now reaching this area of supply over here, this buy before the sell. Once that gets hit, then you would want to see a change of character on the daily, and then you could look for short position again. But otherwise, if we just break through this, then it's very likely that we're just going to head up higher towards this high over here. USD CAD, that should have pushed up higher, but not too strong. Relatively weak still, USD CAD, mainly because of the fact that the Canadian dollar is extremely strong as well. It's just consolidating. But yeah, enough gains on those other pairs. Still looking for this head up higher in towards 1.40. USD yen. Yeah, what can I say? An absolute rocket ship. Yeah, no shorts to be taken there at all. The only thing is up and up and up. Yen basket still weak as hell after what's happened. Now, looking at the yen basket, it is at an interesting level as it's taken out massive and major liquidity over here. Looking at this from a weekly time frame, it's now within the weekly sell down for the buy up. So I'm expecting a bounce here on the yen basket in the near future, which would then in turn cause kind of like a pullback to happen on USD/JPY, for example. There should be a pullback soon, but again, don't try and catch the top here. Just focus on those more clear setups like EURUSD, and GBPUSD. And then of course gold. Gold, what can we say? Again, the overall analysis of yesterday played out perfectly. I mentioned these blue lines and I said, hey, look for the liquidation and then look for the continuation. Liquidation happened, 50-minute change of character happened here as well. I hope you guys are watching these videos because it's literally just free money and free setups. And then here you obviously have the 50-minute change of character and the long position to take. Now the thing has been shooting in towards the highs, stop loss underneath the lows, targeting higher highs, classic, more than a 1 to 3 out of that. Clear as days, and easy money. Overall here on the 4-hour / 1 hour time frame, it's getting really dangerous because the more and more it just keeps pushing. Yeah, it's getting more and more dangerous. Obviously, at some point in time, after such an impulsive move, like we saw it here as well, we saw like a 4.5% move. Now we've seen around a 5.5% move. I do expect there again to be some liquidation in the near future. So yeah, definitely wait for that to happen before getting into any new trades. So you want to mark out those liquidity lows. So for example, let's say this one over here, and let's say this one over here. Those are major liquidity lows. Wait for those lows to get taken out and then look for the change of character before looking for a long position again. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic trading day. That's my update here. What a week, what a month. Again, we've been spot on exactly with dollar analysis. And this just shows if you focus on one single currency pair, just the dollar, these are the kind of, let's say results that you can achieve. You can be right in a very good quantity of setups. And that's going to absolutely change your life. So no need to trade these 10 or 20 different setups because you're only going to be confusing yourself. And then maybe, you're right on what the dollar is doing, but then you're going to be terribly wrong on what the CAD is doing, for example. And then you still get screwed and you just end up hitting break even. But if you focus on one currency pair and you master that currency pair, like I'm doing here every single day with the dollar, then you're able to make massive, massive steps. And that's how, for example, Max achieved those massive results. Just focusing on, for example, EURUSD. And that's how I've been able to change my life by just trading one single currency pair. And I advise you to do the same. Obviously, no financial advice. But thanks guys for watching. Wish you all a fantastic day. And make sure to let me know in Discord how your week/month has been going. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment and show some love in the comment section because I read all the comments. Really, thanks.